Hey, Peter.
Hey, what's up, man?
Where is it?
Whoop.
And there it is. I'm Adam Maness.
And I'm Peter Martin.
And you're listening to the You'll Hear It podcast. Daily jazz advice coming at you. Today's episode is sponsored by the Oxford American. Go to oxfordamerican.org/YHI for some great deals on a yearly subscription.
How many cups of coffee did you have?
Way too many.
You are on fire, man.
Hey, Sam, can you make some more coffee, please?
Dude, better pull out the decaf.
No, I want the full stuff, the full strong stuff. Hey, we got a lot to do. You're about to go out of town. We have to record a lot of these episodes so that they don't get the crappy Adam-only episodes.
No, what do you mean? Those are some of our most beloved. And we might do some remote ones from Europe. Would that work?
That'd be cool, actually.
Yeah, we might do a few.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Today we have a speak pipe. Let's check it out.
Hey, guys. Love your podcast. Just wondering if you could do an episode on duo playing, discussing how to accompany a vocalist or an instrumentalist, perhaps in ways that do not involve walking a bass line. Thanks a lot.
I love that question because I do feel like I hear a lot of pianists resort to walking a bass line. There's nothing wrong with walking a bass line, but it's really not the only way to accompany accompany another musician in a duo situation. And it's not my favorite way. My favorite way is much looser, and I know yours is too.
My favorite way is to hire a guitarist and to sit back and listen to that duo.
That's a great way
that can be nice. I think that, but you know what, the bass line thing, I think that's something that when we're younger and not really younger, just maybe less experience, you haven't done it as much, seems like a bigger deal when to do it, how to do it, how much to do it, not to do it, than it is. I mean, I used to really focus in on that a lot. Whereas now I just kind of I'll go into a bass line sometimes. Not a lot, but I'll do it. But it's never like, oh, let me get out of it. If I'm feeling it, I'll do it.
Totally.
And it can sound great, you know. And I mean, at a young age, I was in a very traumatic situation in which I was asked to walk a bass line in a duo setting with none other than Ray Brown. And you talk about like not an appropriate time to play a bass line. Come on. Dude. So once you get past that, the sky's the limit. But I mean, I think, you know, there really are times when it's fun to do a bass line. And I think with the bass line, let's just remember, it's never like there's not just one kind of bass line. You know, I mean, if we're talking about like a swing beat, there's like two feel, and it doesn't have to be always stuck in one way. So I think with good solo piano playing and then duo playing with a vocalist or instrumental, which kind of flows out of somewhat of a solo style in terms of the range that we're hitting on the piano, a little bit of flexibility in how you look at a bass line, that it's not binary, like you're walking a bass line or you're not. Although I guess the walking part would imply a walking bass line. Sorry, I missed that part. No, but even that, you can go in and out of is what I mean. It's not like, okay, then I'm going to play a chorus accompanying, I'm going to walk a bass line, and then the next chorus I'm not. Like, you can kind of slide in and out of it, I would say.
I think, you know, one thing I've learned hanging around you more and more, amongst a plethora of things that are bad for me, one great thing I've learned being around you is that when you are doing that sort of solo piano accompaniment of another of a solo instrument, whether that's a vocalist or an instrumentalist, all of this stuff is more hinted at. Like the feels you can hint at them more than you can actually just go, you know, right. There's some of that, you know, you can kind of go into that.
I like that though. That was cool.
Well, thank you. Yeah. But you can go into that and you can come out of that seamlessly, you know, and you can hint at even a stride thing, but you don't have to go full on, you know, Art Tatum stride. Exactly. Like you can do all of these things now in a modern context. Yeah. Sometimes you can play rootless voicings and just comp that way as you would if there was a bass player for a little bit, but then go back and drop a bass note. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's how I like to think of it. One thing I'll say, Chris, is check out, we have some stuff on our blog on you'llhearit.com/blog. Yeah. We have a bunch of stuff on like the 3-zone concept and some solo piano voicing concepts, which get you into this, right? Yeah. So one way to practice doing this is, it's a bass line, but it's not a walking bass line. It's a 2-feel bass line. Yeah. So being able to play the 2-feel with that low zone in your left hand, playing the bass notes, and being able to fill in around that with that middle zone. Yep. You know what I mean? And then doing some leading tones with that upper zone if you want.
Yeah, and I think from a practice standpoint, that really starts with that two feel, and I really preach that real restricted thing of not only it being a two feel, just starting with the half notes at first.
That's so important.
Yeah, so that you can work out that independence of the hands, but also starting with that middle zone being really just right-handed first.
Yeah.
But then also starting, to do some simple improv, and then during the breaks, bringing your left hand up to do some of that middle zone.
Yeah.
And then even kind of combining left and right on that zone, because that will start to force you to those places where you can leave out some of that two feel bass line.
I wonder if I can reach this. So I'm going to try to do something else you do with the half notes. Is don't think that the half notes always have to be the bass note. You can imply that, but you can also fill out the chord with that half note. Maybe you do a bass line occasionally, but maybe it's just
And then you can even get that, like you got the voice leading going, kind of implied separate voices.
Exactly. You're basically doing, you're adding sevenths, like this voicing, just break into half notes.
Yeah.
And then you can also start adding things in your right hand around that.
That's right, right. And I think later on what that can become is some nice stuff with your left hand where you're playing a fair number of roots with actual like root 7, root 5/7, kind of open stuff in the left hand because you are going to be lower, but you're not playing an actual two feel bass line or a walking bass line, but you're playing part of it in each measure, so it feels like it. And I think, to your point earlier about you don't have to play but
sounds good.
Thank you. But if you imagine that and play part of it, like that's where the magic, I think, with solo piano playing. I know the question's about duo, but what we're talking about is no bass, no drum.
Yeah, these are solo techniques.
Yeah,
for
solo
sure.
techniques, and then supportive in a duo role. The magic is in leaving out a bunch of stuff, but making it sound like it's there. Like you want to play it a way where at the end of the course it's like, man, pianist was doing everything. He was walking a bass line. He was like, I didn't miss anything.
That's right.
And in fact, you're not actually walking. It's kind of like sleight of hand. But as long as you're confident and you hear it, and then you can fill it in some, and you'd be amazed at how much it can come across and have the illusion of you doing it.
Totally. So, for example, like... and then going back to the half notes and maybe even, that kind of thing, doing these little things between their left and the right hand, but not sticking with anything for the whole time. Like, here's the chorus where I walk, and here's the chorus where I do a two feel, and here's the chorus where I just comp. You
corny.
Can go in between those, and in fact, you want to, because it kind of gives the illusion that everything is happening at once, and you're your own rhythm section.
Yep. And I mean, we hinted this the other day in one of the episodes in terms of. I cannot remember what I was going to say. Well, that's okay.
You'll hear it. Do we have an ultimate tip for this episode?
We do.
Okay, so
that's right. I was so focused into that I totally lost my train of thought there.
Before we get to it, though, one more time, don't forget to visit oxfordamerican.org/YHI to get some great deals on the Oxford American. There's amazing articles on music that's incredibly relevant to what we're talking about here. Music from Nina Simone, from John Coltrane, from Thelonious Monk, from James Brown, and many, many others. Not to mention just a ton of great literary articles, a ton of great poetry. It's an incredible resource for, I think, any musician who's into what we're into.
That's right. Yeah. Absolutely. Please leave us a rating and review right now. Do it. We're going to sit here. We're going to make you wait for that ultimate tip until you do it.
And go to you'llhear.com for a speak pipe. Leave us a question.
Yeah. And we are going to, before we get to the ultimate tip, I think we have a listener tune coming up tonight, an outro. We're getting back on our outros.
Oh, that's right. That's why we were talking about And There It Is, because we have a listener tune, And There It Is, from Kash Wright.
So get ready for that coming in just a few seconds. So, ultimate tip. This is going to be, and if you want to chime in on one too, that's fine. But check out Ella Fitzgerald and Ellis Larkin's duos, especially for playing with the singer. I think that's just like so many great ideas, such beautiful recordings. And they've been repackaged so many times. I think one of them is like the essence of Ella. It's not the essence. It's something like the something of Ella Fitzgerald. But I mean, just look for duos with Ellis Larkins and Ella Fitzgerald, and you'll find it in all that stuff. I mean, they do a rendition of the Gershwin, Someone to Watch Over Me. Yeah. It's just amazing. I mean, Ellis Larkins playing. I mean, it's just textbook. Also, a little bonus ultimate tip. It's not really a duo, but when you listen to Shirley Horn play and accompany herself, it's like it's a duo because it's vocals and piano.
She's
so check her out,
too.
Especially on some of her lesser-known recordings like Live in Paris. That's some great. I mean, of course, playing with the trio a lot, but also just she's breaking it down on the duo with herself.
I'm gonna throw the Bill Evans Tony Bennett album in the mix with that because that's
trump card.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Well, the good kind of trump.
Yeah.
Till tomorrow.
You'll hear it.